Hey Social Wendy and
Heidi Vogel.
we're talking LinkedIn today. And so you first, me first.
So I'll be second. No, okay, I'll start.
Okay.
LinkedIn. LinkedIn for me is a very, very business-centric tool that I will use for clients, for people that I have some connection with. I do not need to have done business with them. I have a lot of people that I have done business with,
Yeah.
but that I also met at a conference or whatever.
Sure.
However, I do not mingle, for instance, my private tweets or my Facebook account, which is for me more private.
You don't
with
feed it
LinkedIn.
into your
No,
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn
Okay.
is for me an isolated solution that is only for business.
Sure. And database.
And a database to check who's there, what do people do. It's those nice little things when you forget to send somebody a little email for his birthday, or you find out they changed jobs. LinkedIn is wonderful in reminding you, and
Yeah.
because it helps you to show your interest in people.
Because you are interested, but there's no way you
Right.
could possibly in this day and age keep up with them in
Right.
the way you would need to.
Right.
So, yeah, so I am a little the flip side of that. I have to know someone and have done some version of business with them on LinkedIn, because I find how people approach me on it is they'll want a referral. And I
Okay.
really, I find that if I was going to refer someone, I treasure my relationships, and if I've called you to recommend someone, I need to really know that, because I wouldn't insult or waste your time, you
Right.
know, or I wouldn't want to compromise the relationship.
Right.
So, and I've had people ask to be on LinkedIn, and one of the biggest things people ask me is, how do you decline, right?
Right.
Because some people just leave it hanging out there, or you know, whatever. And I actually respond to people, and I frankly just say, thanks for wanting to be LinkedIn. And I explain to them that I prefer this kind of interaction on Facebook. And I may, depending on the person, go into a little bit more of why or not. You know, if it's someone, but you know, I try to be respectful about that. I also have, a lot of times I have my clients in there, and I don't really want my competitors
You don't want
to.
no.
I don't want someone who I don't know, who might be a mole for someone, to
Right.
be checking out my people.
There's a good thing, and there's a German site that closely equates LinkedIn, Xing, and what they
Yes.
do is you have an option, and you simply make your contacts invisible.
Yeah. Yes.
That's quite nice if you don't want people to know.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the same thing with Facebook. When I have a request and it's somebody I do not know, or then I'll just send them a nice little email and say, by the way, I only friend people that I have some sort of connection with.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll meet up at a conference or somewhere else one of these
Yes.
days.
It's
Then-
no harm, no foul. It's
Exactly.
just I don't know you yet.
But it's
So,
interesting how the old etiquette, how do you decline an invitation to a date for a guy or a girl you really don't want to hang out with?
It's
has
what it is.
Gone digital,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, and you brought up the whole thing about keeping up with people. I love that about that. There actually was a new engagement tool that LinkedIn just did a couple weeks ago. I got this outbound email, and I thought, this is really handy. They were showing some, you know, all these social networks are
Right.
now sending things out with the new features
Right.
and all that, and I find that to be friendly, and I like
Right.
to know when there's a new tip.
Exactly.
And things to do, but I do feed my SlideShare in, feed my Twitter in, because of course, we know I don't do the
Right.
personal thing, and so I do that stuff, and I find that's pretty handy. And
Right.
I do love to, if I'm searching for contacts and that, it really is nice to see who you,
Right.
I love to see who they know that
you
I know.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely right.
the automation of that, I think that's really powerful, because I usually can then make a couple calls, especially
Right.
with someone I'm, you know, traveling down a path
Right.
and doing some kind of
Right.
business with. You know, I love to know a little bit
Right.
more.
It's kind of like our parents said, who we hang out with tells you a lot about who we are.
It does.
And it's
Yeah.
good in a sense. What I really like about it is it gives you an opportunity to show off on a very, very narrow area. It's like you don't have to do a lot of things to search. What is your expertise? What are the deals you've done? And at least as an attorney, what I notice is that prior to having a meeting with a potential client, you will find that somebody looked at your Xing or LinkedIn profile,
Yes.
did a research on that. And I can easily tell when you do a speech or when you're somewhere, you can easily tell by the search terms, and people look at those things and
Yes.
find out about it. So for an attorney to not be on any of those sites is an inexcusable marketing lapse.
Right, and it's a simple thing to do. At
Right.
least at an opening price point level, you should, own your digital identity.
Right. And how often do you do that? Because that's one thing I noticed. There's a lot of people that open it once and they spend 2 hours and then they don't
And then
do
they
anything.
never go back.
Right. Do like every couple of days, like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not be there for hours, but like a very, very close and clearly categorized excursion that you do. I want to
Yes.
post this. I want to look at that. You do 5 minutes, you do it every 3 or 4 days, and you're done. Way more effective than every week, every month, an hour.
Right. Well, and I tend to do that I kind of joke about that's a wine in front of a movie kind of thing,
Yeah,
where I'll do
exactly.
a little bit of a troll. On the weekend I can, I don't find during the week that I can kind of wrap my head around the
Right.
enjoyment of it, because
Right.
it's what I do as a vocation,
Right.
and I'm immersed in my clients'
Right.
projects. I find then when I want to do mine, I really kind of want to take that step back and,
Right.
and enjoy it a little bit. So I'll do it on, I will do a purposeful thing though. Same thing.
Right.
I'll have a couple tactics I've got in mind. And if I'm in a hurry, I got an egg timer, because,
Right.
I'm going to be kind of this side of an addict on it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's
And you
really
can spend
fun.
hours and hours in there, but it's like with everything else. A little bit is okay, too much is
It,
a bad thing.
welcome to the real world. We all have
Right.
lives. There's stuff to
Right.
do. So,
True.
all right, that's LinkedIn.
Thank you.